Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Innovation Conversation, brought to you by Innovation Network. In this episode, we talk about self-cleaning chairs, parking lots and COVID-19, and much, much more. I really hope you enjoy. The episode lasts around half an hour. Hello and welcome to the Innovation Conversation, episode 2. So we've got Grant Vernon. Say hi, Grant.
Hey everybody, great to be back. Episode 2, we made it. Most shows never make it past the pilot. So
We got Chad Smith. Say hi, Chad.
Hi, I'm not so sure about Grant's stats, but let's just run with it.
Read it on the internet, Chad. It must be true.
And I'm Connor. Awesome. Okay, so shall we just jump straight into it, Grant? You've got the first topic.
Yeah. My first topic is I got a couple of emails asking, where's that crazy, lovable Dutchman that you guys work with? So I thought we'd better tell all the listeners, Professor Rody he was the only man in the Netherlands to have bought and sold a house during the COVID lockdown, which shows you the power of his innovation. And he's currently renovating a house, installing stairs, all kinds of things. And we hope to have him back in the next week or two. So that's the update on the Crazy Dutchman, coming soon to a podcast near you.
Yeah, the pod haven't met him yet, but he's here, guys. Yeah. He'll join us, don't worry.
Yeah, he's real, I tell you. All right, I wanted to tell you about my first little innovation article of the week, which I really, really love. And it's all about business model pivoting during COVID. And a little bit of a boring topic, but so interesting, which is parking. So the parking business. Can you imagine paid parking in big cities worldwide come to a grinding halt because no one's traveling? Yeah. So it was super interesting to see that the parking economy in America alone is almost an $11 billion industry. Likewise, I'm sure it's equally valuable in all the sort of really sort of tier 1 cities of the world. So it was really, really interesting. There's a couple of startups that had leveraged the parking industry from the traditional sort of players. So there were a couple here that I wanted to tell you about. Let's have a look. Curbstand is one. So a startup that partners with restaurants, hotels, airports, and residential buildings, apartment buildings to provide valet parking services to customers. So how cool is that? You're getting home to your flat in London, Connor, and you just, in the app, book a valet parking service. They take your Bentley, they park it somewhere and bring it back later. They've got 10,000 spaces to let across the city that they're based out of in the States. So clever and cheaper than traditional parking. There's been a couple of others. Air Garage instead of Airbnb, love that. Air Garage had a really clever model, which was that they found people that own their own parking lots but don't max out their capacity, like churches, community centers, and it leverages those parkings that aren't always in demand and rents them out. So clever. And then obviously with COVID, the parking industry just plummeted. The revenue basically dried up. So they were looking for new business models. So they've converted parking lots into the first one I saw was COVID-19 testing centers, so socially distanced testing centers. Then Air Garage created the world's first outdoor cinema COVID style. So $25 per car, and they sold all 20 spaces in the first iteration. So drive-in movie theater. Next, they turned empty parking lots into pop-up grocery stores. So you don't shop in a normal grocery store. You want some social distancing into a grocery store. You go to a wide open outdoor grocery store. Other things they've turned parking lots into, so live stream funerals. So not a funny topic, guys, but very clever business model. Parking lots with live streaming funerals, so the tech and all the space. Doctors are turning parking lots into consulting rooms to treat non-emergency room problems. So again, unused space. Lawyers are notarizing wills in between parking spaces and parking lots. And some restaurants have turned their parking lots into tables so that you can have a really nice social distanced parking lot. So I love that story. it's a little bit of good news out of COVID, and super, super clever ways that people have pivoted their business model.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's just using it. I mean, car lots are essentially just space, and I guess in COVID times that space is completely unused. So if you can bring in innovative ways to use that space, that's really clever, you know. And I guess you're just using existing business models and using it for a market that needs those business models such as parking. So that's really clever. Yeah. Chad, any thoughts on that?
Too cool.
Well, I actually read the first part of this article, which was I wanted to ask the question, why did drive-in movies actually stop in South Africa? Because, I mean, it was such a huge business. Everybody used to come together and actually enjoy a movie in a different sort of setting that was more relaxed than your average cinema, you know? Also, I mean, it's fantastic and just shows how an empty space can be pivoted into something that's actually extraordinary when it looks at the current states of society. And I think that's just exciting for people to see how easy and cheaply a business can be pivoted.
Yeah, brilliant. If you're listening and you pivot your parking lot, we'd love to know. Send us an email. Just looking out my window and thinking, what am I going to do with the 10 parking? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the Airbnb
farmers market.
the sort of garage Airbnb one is that the people using their own driveways or?
Yeah. So that's private people. So like Airbnb, you let out your parking, and then they match you to a hotel that needs valet parking. Or you could be a flat dweller that wants to get valet parking. So super clever. I haven't seen that in London yet, so that could be one for startup books.
I have known people in London to literally just sell out their driveways, but not through a platform like Airbnb. So that would be a really clever platform to develop, definitely.
Yeah, too cool.
Why can't you want to start that?
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
we got a new startup to start next week. I got 2 orders for RoboBird, Connor.
So, do you?
Oh, wow.
You got orders for it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have another topic for us, Grant?
I do. So this one is a little bit more serious. We always have a segment on corporate innovation. And I found a really lovely article which mentions a technique that 3M, a company close to our heart because they manufacture Post-it notes. Post-it notes are the absolute core of the design sprint process. Can't do it without 4,000 Post-it notes or less. And I often wonder whether the guy, Jake Knapp, that and IDEO, those type of people must have had shares in 3M before they popularized design sprints. But really interesting. So one of the techniques that 3M uses to tackle new innovation opportunities is a cross-functional team focused on a new market opportunity. So how powerful is this? In many companies, there's just an innovation team or a commercial team, but this is someone from all the different disciplines. So marketing, HR, finance, ICT, all partnered in one team focused on a new commercial opportunity. And they break up the team into scouts looking for new opportunities, entrepreneurs who I guess hustle and build a business model out of these new opportunities, and then implementers, who are the people that probably come afterwards, more focused on operationally starting to scale that up. And I thought that was so clever. It's not a new concept, but the cross-functional teams focused on a new commercial opportunity, I think will get bigger and bigger in the innovation space as people are forced to pivot, especially post-COVID-19.
Definitely, that's really cool. So, I mean, we found in our own courses that sort of teams made up of lots of different backgrounds can lead to some really exciting innovation ideas. So that's a really good way to go about it, I think. Chad, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I was just thinking about our team and all the different skills that we have on our team and how well we actually work together and where our qualifications actually lie, which, if you be very honest, they don't truly fit together at all, but it sort of works. And I actually really like that whole concept.
Yeah, definitely.
I bet most people don't actually use the thing that they studied. And then you bring all those diverse skills into one cross-functional team. Yeah, so I really love that.
It's the different personality types as well, I guess, that comes with those skills, which might be
Yeah.
a really cool team dynamic.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So shall we move on to the next topic then?
Yeah, are you guys ready for my innovation pick of the week?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Let's
do
hear
it.
it.
How do you beat RoboSloth? How do you beat him?
How?
We're going COVID hygiene this week. So there's a French company that's developed self-cleaning fabric that kills viruses, so it's a decontaminating fabric. And they say, what if your seat on the subway could fight off the coronavirus? Like, how cool is that? And they're already equipping local metro underground trains. Don't say underground to the French, it's metro. But the trains are getting self-cleaning fabric that kills viruses. Too cool.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. I mean, I wonder how much that costs to develop, because I'm not even sure how high tech that is, or whether it's some sort of material, but that's really cool.
Yeah, clever idea. So I don't know. I also don't know much about the technology behind it, but talk about the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
Those public transport, high volumes, so a self-cleaning, self-decontaminating fabric, super cool.
A kind of a good example of how urgency can really spring up some good innovations, because I mean that might not have been even in development before COVID times, but the necessity for it might have brought it forward, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, actually, I think there was a number of years ago, cars came out with hyperallergenic sort of car seats. I wonder if it's a build on or sort of a branch of that innovation that came out, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago.
That's cool. Is that like so it doesn't attract pollen and stuff like that?
It sort of helps with sort of skin irritations and other sort of I think it's called like other minor infections and such. And then there's also the deodorizing material that they used to put into the roof lining.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's also on that same level, or if those are older innovations that this built on. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of this has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
I imagine nanotechnology, little tiny robots fighting off the virus. But I suspect Chad's one is more closer to what it really is.
We should have brought on a guest scientist for this, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a quote here. I've just read, the purpose of this reaction is to oxidize compounds and turn them into harmless molecules like water or salt. So that sort of gives a little bit of insight on how it works.
Yeah, cool.
That's really interesting. I'd love to dive into the science of this, but I don't think we have time.
Yeah. Next episode. Yeah.
So shall we get onto the rating then for today's?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So first of all, we got simplicity. Now, this is a tough one to rate for this specific use case, because I'm sure it wasn't that simple to develop, but it does sound very simple, having material that fights off infections. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I suppose the initial tech was probably pretty complex, actually, but I like
the idea itself. The idea itself, I think, was really easy.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, they could have really overcomplicated it, I suppose. I'm not sure what that looks like. Maybe a big sanitization spray comes into your face or something. So on that sort of front, it is quite simple. Luckily, they didn't go too crazy with it.
So I go 7.
Yeah, I was thinking about 7. Yeah.
Well, I'm good at that.
You concur? Cool.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so next we've got we might want to say we have changed it from last episode, the rating system. We thought that there might be a bit too many last episode, so we're rating it this week on simplicity, impact, and ease to implement. So on that note, shall we go on to impact then?
Yeah, I'd say it's a 9 myself. Like it's killing viruses. Maybe
impact.
Do we go 10?
Ooh, I'm not willing to go 10, but I'll go with the 9, especially because of the climates of today's society, with the virus going around and everything. I think it's an absolutely essential part of public transport now.
Definitely. I mean, I don't actually drive, but I'm not taking public transport either because, I don't want to go near it really. So yeah, this would be a great idea. And if there's more innovations like this, then maybe I could go on public transport pretty soon, if you know what I mean. So that's quite exciting. So impact wise, I think, yeah, we're definitely right to give it a 9.
Sounds good.
So shall we go on to ease to implement then?
Yeah.
So this one,
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. You'd have to replace a lot of material on existing carriages. I'm thinking that this might be around a 4 personally, but what do you guys think?
I'm gonna go 5. Chad, you be the decider.
Ooh, I would go 5 because you know what? As an upholsterer, a friend of mine's father was an upholsterer, and yes, the job was hard and it did take time, but it wasn't the most difficult thing to just cover seats. It's the other stuff around it that was difficult. So I'm going with a 5.
Yeah, sure.
It's also, yeah, it's just, I think the biggest part is that it takes a lot of time to implement because of the number of seats in public transport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit biased because my local train company, I won't dob them in, I won't name them, but we're still riding carriages from the 70s, and they're only just replacing them. So, yeah, I definitely don't have much faith in the Welsh government sort of replacing the materials there. But yeah, definitely. So we got simplicity 7 out of 10, impact 9 out of 10, and ease to implement 5 out of 10. So it's not bad, but I don't think that's beating the Robo Sloth yet, is it?
Yeah, okay.
Not yet.
But definitely
we'll keep going, Robo Sloth. We will beat you.
Awesome. Okay, shall we move on then to the creativity tip of the week?
Yeah, so I wanted to just share screen and show you a little technique that can be really useful for those of you running any sort of innovation activity. And it's a time timer. Can you see that on screen? The little red colored area that extends to take up an hour?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So I'm not sure how I would describe it to listeners. I suppose it's similar to a normal clock. However, you've got a certain amount of it is red, and I'm guessing that sort of decreases as the time goes down. Would you say that's a good way to describe it, Grant?
Yeah, and kind of the history of this was invented by a preschool teacher because irritating kids would always say, "How many minutes left?" And they had no way to visualize what that meant because they didn't understand time, right? So, guys, if you picture on screen a normal alarm clock with a 60-minute timer, and you twist a little dial, and the red colors up the numbers of minutes that are left, and as the time elapses, so the red disappears, showing you how much time is left. So it's a very visual way to show how many minutes are left out of an hour, originally designed for preschool kids, kindergarten kids, to show them how many minutes were remaining until some activity would start. If you just Google time timer, you'll pick it up on the net. And it's a very effective tool for any sort of innovation activity. And the reason for that is called the Parkinson's principle, which says that any task will expand to fill the time that you have available. So if you given an hour to brainstorm, you'll take the full hour. But if you were just given 5 minutes and you were really focused with a sense of urgency, you'd probably be able to be equally, if not more effective than the hour. So if you are running an ideation session, any sort of task meeting, at the time timer just gives people a very visual time deadline that we've got this much time and we've got to finish the task in the time remaining. So it's a very, very cool innovation tool used for ideation, brainstorming, but actually anything that you can think of that needs a bit of a time deadline in the innovation process.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, that could be innovation of the day. I wonder how we'd score that. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see how it was created because as a kid, you really have no concept of time. I remember my dad when I'd ask, are we there yet? that question. He'd always describe how many SpongeBob SquarePants episodes it would be until we're there. 'Cause that was my only concept of time, was those 30-minute blocks of like an episode.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably a version of it. Nicely done.
Yeah, definitely.
But
But
I can also that one.
yeah, it's a great way to describe to kids how time, because it is relative, as Einstein says. So yeah, a really good innovation, and a really good creativity technique, definitely. Chad, do you have any thoughts on the time timer?
Well, I just love the whole concept of timing everything in innovation. I think it's very true that any task will take up the time that you allow, and I love how many ideas you can come up with in such a short space of time. So we did a sort of webinar the other day where I think it was 10 people, 20 people came up with about 80 sort of ideas in the space of about 5 minutes. And I think that considering one person was typing, it was absolutely amazing.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember that, and we did make quite a few ideas, didn't we? Just and yeah, I think you're right. If we weren't timed, then we definitely wouldn't have made that many ideas.
Yeah, it was like 50 plus ideas. I think we did in 5 minutes. It was
more than that. Yeah, definitely.
More than that. Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive. But yeah, no, it's again going back. It's sort of that urgency factor, isn't it? That just creates so many more ideas. I can't remember the exact quote, but in COVID times, the digital transformation of companies have sprung forward 3 years, in just one. So definitely that sort of timed factor is key to innovation, I think.
Yeah, that timed urgency is definitely part of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So are we ready to move on to the innovation/collaboration tool of the week then?
Absolutely. And the innovation collaboration tool of the week is my AI virtual meetings assistant. So if you go to x.ai, you'll come across Amy, I think it's Andrew, or a gender neutral meeting scheduler of your choice. Very, very cool. It's an AI bot that will reach out to people and set up calls and meetings for you. I tried this out. I was an early adopter, so I tried this out 4 years ago, I think. Worked very cool until it went nuclear on one of my customers in a loop, and he thought she was a real person. He got real angry, and I stopped using Amy. But I dived in again about 6 weeks ago, and it's really improved all sorts of cool scheduling, calendar integration techniques. So you just send someone an email, copy in your AI, and say, let's line up a Zoom call or a coffee date. And the AI will reach out to them, give them a series of times, and then book it in your diary. A couple of downsides. I noticed that some of the invites do get caught in spam, and it didn't cope well with a group of sort of 10. It gave up after a while. But it still saves me a lot of time, because I often need to set up calls with people. And the to and fro, the email ping pong can be really frustrating. So I still love my x.ai meeting scheduling AI bot.
Yeah, maybe they caught a whiff of people thinking that she's a real person, because now it announces in the very first message that it is a robot. So maybe that happened to quite a few people.
Yeah, it was probably my customer. Yeah. Now, Chad, you've used Amy. What did you think of the AI scheduling?
Well, I used to schedule a lot of meetings, and I think that's coming back to that time of year again where I'll be scheduling a lot. I used it today and it worked fantastically. I think it was human error that I sat in my meeting alone and the person didn't arrive, because it was in my calendar and I'm pretty sure he got any calendar invites. So I don't understand what happened. But I do know that Amy works very well. It was as simple as copying, as you said, into the email, and everything went just so smoothly.
Yeah, and the sort of entry-level version is for free. It doesn't get any better than that. Yeah.
Well, I'm using the free version. It's fantastic.
It's interesting. It is actually an artificial intelligence, isn't it? So how I describe this to people who are really foreign to the concept is it's like Siri or Alexa, just you email them rather than speak directly to them. So I'm not sure if it has all the functionalities of like a proper AI like Google Siri or anything like that. However, I think Amy is an expert of scheduling meetings, so it's definitely got a use case. But it's a proper AI, I think. So it's really interesting, definitely.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Any more thoughts on X.AI, or shall we start wrapping up?
No, I think it's time to wrap up. It'd be great to, if you're interested, we've got a whole lot of online events coming up next month. So if you're interested in any aspect of innovation, lots of free sessions, lots of paid webinars, all kinds of cool stuff, innovationtrainingnetwork.com. And we hope to welcome the Dutchman, Professor Rody, back next week to join the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys can finally meet him.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a grand reveal.
He's real. Yeah.
I'm not sure what that looks like, but
they want to be like,
grand reveal on a podcast is so much less anticipation built up. You can't actually see the person, so.
Well, maybe we could do an MTV Cribs of his new place, you know?
We could, yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, to our older viewers, MTV Cribs is.
Is it David Blaine? Which magician is doing that ascension stunt, traveling there with helium balloons? Have you guys seen that?
I'm not sure. What, has he already done it, or is he going to?
No, 31 August, live on YouTube.
I think David Blaine, because I did hear he's going to re-emerge in some way. Yeah.
Some crazy stunt. So we'll tell Rody we want something equally as crazy as this.
Equally.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, find a way.
Or something. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds
well, okay.
great.
We'll see you guys in the next episode. So goodbye.
Yeah. Bye-bye, guys.
Goodbye. Cheers.
Thank you so much for watching episode 2 of the Innovation Conversation, brought to you by Innovation Network. If you want to reach out to us, you can go to our website at innovationtrainingnetwork.com, or you can email us at sales@innovationtrainingnetwork.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.